welcome back to my channel. My name is Rose Love, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about the best mineral sunscreen for your skin type, and I'm going to give my top 3 mineral sunscreen recommendations for dry, normal and oily skin. So if you're interested in this video, please make sure you like it, share it, leave a comment, and let's get down to it. I'm going to break down the video into 3 parts. First, I'm going to talk about the benefits of sunscreen because there's a very heated debate around whether we even need to wear sunscreen. Then I'm going to break down the difference between mineral and chemical sunscreen. Finally, I'm going to give you my top 3 rated sunscreens that are mineral and that are good for dry, oily, and normal skin type. Let's get into the benefits of wearing sunscreen. First of all, you reduce the risk of getting skin cancer significantly when you wear sunscreen and when you protect yourself in general from the sun, because UV rays are the predominant risk factor or causing factor for skin cancer. So if you want to avoid that, wear sunscreen and protect yourself. The second thing is, obviously nobody likes sunburns. I'm currently nursing a sunburn here from when I went swimming without sunscreen, and there's nothing as uncomfortable as a sunburn or even just an uneven tan, and then you can't, like now I can't wear like off the shoulder tops because I just look like there's a strict line here. Nobody wants that. Thirdly, there's the issue of hyperpigmentation. When you are exposed to the sun, you produce melanin. So assuming you have an acne scar, it's only gonna get darker when you constantly expose it to the sun without protection. Last but not least is aging. They call this photoaging. So imagine all these issues that we've just talked about: the hyperpigmentation, the fine lines, the sunburns, all of that, the uneven skin tone from constant exposure to the sun over 70 years. Skin is just gonna be so shriveled up. So for the overall health and elasticity of your skin, it's highly recommended that you wear sunscreen and that you protect yourself from the sun by wearing hats or covering yourself. If you want any inspo, please look at the Koreans. They are doing it very, very well. The Japanese, the Koreans, typically in Asian culture, they really try to avoid exposure to the sun, and they are onto something. I'm looking at my phone, which is where I have all my notes, so don't mind that. So what is the difference between mineral and chemical sunscreen? So I want you to think of mineral sunscreen like a physical shield or a physical barrier. The way that it works is it kind of lays on top of your skin like a barrier. So when the UV rays hit your skin, they tend to scatter and bounce off. Or at some point it also absorbs the UV rays so that your actual skin does not have to. So because of that, it's known to leave a white cast because of how much of a physical sunscreen it is. And people don't like the white cast. If you're wondering what that is, it's when you wear sunscreen and then you look like a ghost and it's just very gray or white. So a lot of people of color tend to avoid mineral sunscreens because of that. Another thing about this is that I think the best thing is that it offers immediate protection. It's literally like just shoop. That's exactly how it works. So that's a benefit because you don't need to apply it like 10 minutes, 30 minutes before you leave the house. You can literally just wake up, apply your sunscreen and go. Sometimes I even apply it in the car. So for me, that's a plus. But for some people, because of that physicality, it tends to feel a bit heavier in texture. Last but not least, because of that physicality, I do think that it tends to not be very water resistant because it can easily be washed off. So you do require to reapply it quite often, which for some people is not a good thing. The chemicals that you're looking for in a mineral sunscreen are zinc oxide and titanium oxide. That's generally what signifies that this is a mineral sunscreen. So because of the fact that it's just a layer, it's less irritating for your skin. That's why it's highly recommended for sensitive, acne-prone skin type. Now, let's talk about chemical sunscreen. Chemical sunscreen is more of like a sponge. So think about it like this. It assimilates into the top layer of your skin. In case you didn't know, you have 3 predominant layers of your skin. You have the epidermis, you have the dermis, and the hypodermis. The epidermis, or the skin barrier, that's your top layer. This is what we are seeing, okay? That's the top layer. So chemical sunscreen assimilates or blends into your top layer, and instead of the UV rays hitting you directly and penetrating into the deeper layers of your skin and causing hyperpigmentation, aging, all those things that we've talked about, what chemical sunscreens do is they absorb the UV rays and then they will disseminate or release them by converting them into heat. So over time, you will dispense the UV rays that have been absorbed. Now, because of that, you must wear chemical sunscreen at least 15 to 30 minutes before you leave the house and are exposed to the sun. Also, because of the fact that it's, assimilating, converting, all of that, you do need to reapply it. But I will say this, it's rated to be more water resistant because of that fact that it cannot just be easily washed out. After 30 minutes, it's pretty much absorbed into your top layer of the skin. Because of this aspect of assimilation, chemical sunscreen is known to be more irritating for sensitive skin, and that's predominantly why every time I have used chemical sunscreens like La Roche-Posay, CeraVe, Neutrogena, I burnt, like severe burning around my nostrils, especially around my eyes. I was very uncomfortable. It felt very, very invasive, and that's because of how it works. It literally blends into your skin. And the issue with most sensitive acne-prone skins is that they tend to have a compromised skin barrier. So this is why chemical sunscreen is not the best for you. So if you've been wondering the difference, that's the difference between those two. One is more physical and one is more spongy and absorbing type. Let's move into the 3 top recommendations of mineral sunscreen. I'm only talking about mineral sunscreen again because that's my experience. I have been using mineral sunscreens since 2021, 2022, when I started taking my skincare journey more seriously from the advice of my dermatologist. So I have seen a dermatologist. These are dermatologist recommended sunscreens. I want to give a disclaimer. I think you should have all these 3 simply because as I break down for you, you're gonna see the need for all these types of sunscreen. And I know currently we have this whole minimalism, clean girl trend going on where less is more. But I will tell you this, less is more when you have targeted products for your skin. Not having many products doesn't make you like very minimalistic. It just makes you a person who doesn't cater to your needs. I personally would highly recommend these 3, and I'm gonna break them down as to why I do recommend that. First of all, we're gonna start with dry skin. So this is for people who have very dry skin, or if you live in the winter, or if you live in harsh weather conditions that forces your skin to be dry. I would highly recommend the CosRX Aloe Soothing Cream. Underline that word cream because that's literally what this is. It is a cream. It's very deeply hydrating. It will leave a dewy, glowy finish. Personally, that's not my everyday look that I'm going for, especially considering I currently live in a very hot and humid climate in Africa, in East Africa. So I'm not looking to look dewy. I am already dewy. So I found that when I was wearing this sunscreen, I would leave the house and I would be, like in a rush, whatever. I'm so dewy and sweaty. It's very unproblematic. I did not have any breakouts. There were no reactions, no burning, nothing. Like it gets in, does the job, and clocks out. It's also very easy to reapply, so highly recommend it. Now, if you have normal skin, this means your skin is neither dry, neither is it oily, you just have regular looking skin. I would recommend a very regular type of sunscreen, which is the Etude Sunprise Matte or Airy Finish Sunscreen. It says matte / airy finish, but honestly, this is one of those sunscreens like I feel like I'm wearing nothing. That's actually what I have on today. As you can tell, my skin is neither dry, neither is it like extra glowy. I find this to be very good for normal skin types. Also very good if you live in a moderate climate, moderate weather, no adverse effects to your skin. This is very good. It will mattify you, but not really. It will hydrate you, but not really. It's just a good sunscreen, and once you apply, it's gone. The consistency is very runny, very lotion type of consistency, which I think is good. It's probably why it works the way it does. So if you have normal skin, this is my recommendation. Last but not least, we have the recommendation for oily skin. This is for people like me, but I'm gonna explain a bit differently. This is the Haru Haru Wanda Mineral Sunscreen. I have a lot of thoughts on this sunscreen. Overall, I recommend it for people who have naturally very oily skin. Keyword naturally, meaning you're not affected because of the weather. You're not affected because I tend to find my skin to be more oily when the days when I used to have a mattifying primer, mattifying foundation, airy finish blush, and then I have a setting spray that is matte. My skin would be so dry that it would overproduce oil to compensate for the lack of oil that has been usurped. So I don't think, if you have oily skin because of that, I don't think this is a sunscreen for you, because it's only going to do more of that, sucking and drying out your skin and then making you produce more oil and making you think that you're actually oily skin when you're not. Your skin barrier is just compromised. Now, your skin barrier can be compromised in different ways. For acne prone people, because we use a lot of actives like tretinoin, salicylic acid, benzoyl peroxide, azelaic acid, all these actives dry your skin. You may think you have oily skin, only to come and find out that it's just your skin barrier that's been compromised by all the actives that you're pumping into it that dry it out and force it to produce more sebum to compensate for the dryness. So I say this is good for naturally oily skin. Like, you live in a hot and humid climate, you wake up dewy, you go to sleep dewy, this is the sunscreen for you. It's very heavy. I find it to be cream slash lotion like. It comes out like just very thick, yeah, globby, almost globby, and it's heavy. You can feel, I feel it when I wear this sunscreen. So my recommendation, if you do not have naturally oily skin, I would still think you should have this in your routine, because it will come in handy on the days where you need to wear makeup from like morning until night, and you need your makeup to be matte, and you're planning to have like a matte slash dewy look, meaning you would mix this mattifying primer, because it would actually act like a primer. You would mix this with like a dewy foundation, a dewy fixing spray, and then a matte setting spray, something like that. Like, if you can play around with it in your routine, highly recommend this. This is so mattifying. Like, when I want to look snatched, not a pore in sight, not a drop of sweat, this is a sunscreen. Also, if you are an athlete or someone who is, you know, you're constantly sweating and in like high intensity workouts, this might also be a really good option. Just know it will dry your skin. So only recommended for oily skin. Last but not least, the reason why I recommend mineral sunscreen to people who also do not have acne prone sensitive skin is because mineral sunscreen is so much cheaper than chemical sunscreen. I don't know what it is, child. I don't know what they put in them chemicals, but they's expensive, okay? I've used, like I said, I've used La Roche-Posay, and it's so small. No hate, I love other products from La Roche and Neutrogena and CeraVe, but they're all equally small, but so expensive. All these three options are very cheap. I think the Sun Prize, which is a 50 ml sunscreen, it costs about 1,800 Kenya shillings, so that's like $18. The Cosrx costs like 2,000 Kenya shillings, or at the most I think I've bought it at 2,100. Mind you, these are people who have imported, meaning if I imported them myself, I'd probably buy it cheaper. So it is cheaper when I like ship from Amazon directly, costing about like $20. When it comes to the Haru Haru Wanda, again, I don't think it was more than 2,000 or 2,500. But the chemical options, the cheapest chemical sunscreen I ever bought was 3,500 shillings. That is $35. That is the price of a Charlotte Tilbury finishing spray. I'm not spending that on a sunscreen. Considering the fact that you have to use sunscreen every day, you have to reapply sunscreen, you want to have the most affordable option in your arsenal. That's very important. The other thing you need to note is when you use them interchangeably, like you're not predominantly relying on one sunscreen, they last longer. Because typically when I use this on a day-to-day basis, if I use one specific sunscreen, I think it'll last me like 2 months, 3 months at most. But if I'm using them interchangeably, today I'm at the gym, I'm wearing this one, tomorrow I'm at an event, I'm wearing the other, they last a bit longer because you're not relying on the same thing over and over. So that's it from me concerning all things mineral sunscreen. Let me know which you think is best for you. If you're using any of these, let us know in the comments what you would review them. I do think a lot of the products that we buy based off of our peer reviews. So please let us know in the comment section what you are using. If you have another good mineral sunscreen, let me know. I'm always in the business of finding out good products. So that's it from me today. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next video.